Hey everyone, it's Andy from The Next Reel, here with a special holiday message for all of you. As we celebrate this festive season, Pete and I wanted to take a moment to express our sincere gratitude for your ongoing support and dedication to our podcast. Your decision to tune in and join us on this cinematic journey means the world to us, and we truly appreciate each and every one of you. In the spirit of giving, we have decided to do something special with our December member bonus episode covering the 1947 supernatural film noir, Repeat Performance. We are gifting all of you with a full episode, so you can experience firsthand the kind of exclusive content and in-depth discussions that our members enjoy. As a member of The Next Reel, you'll gain access to a host of benefits, including early access to ad-free episodes, additional content, and the opportunity to engage with us and your fellow cinephiles on a deeper level in our members-only channels that are part of our Discord community. If you've been considering joining our membership program, now is the perfect time to get a taste of what it's all about. For just $5 per month or $55 per year, you can unlock a whole new world of cinematic exploration. Visit truestory.fm/join to learn more and sign up. That's truestory.fm/join. But for now, let's all come together and delve into the shadowy world of Repeat Performance, where the lines between reality and fantasy blur, and the consequences of our choices echo through time. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of this captivating film and discover the enduring power of the stories we share. From Pete and myself, happy holidays. May the magic of the movies continue to bring inspiration and connection to your lives, now and always. And with that, let's step into the intriguing world of Repeat Performance.
I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Repeat Performance is over. Destiny's a stubborn old girl. All right. Hi, Andy.
Hi.
We're talking about Repeat Performance. I don't think either of us had seen this, right? I think this was a curiosity.
Not only had I not seen it, I hadn't heard of this before.
Me neither. I mean, don't pretend you're the only one who was in the dark. Oh, I was in the dark.
Oh, good. I'm glad that we both were in the dark.
Yeah, we were both in the dark. Based on a book. It is a gender-reversing adaptation from the book. Now, I kind of want to read the book, but it seems like it's way darker.
But supposed to be quite good from what I was reading. Yeah.
Yeah, but real sad. Real sad. Everybody's bad. And William Williams, who is Hays-coded gay in the movie, is a cross-dressing transsexual in the book who goes by and appears as William sometimes and Mary sometimes. And Andy, I think that's got to be a jab at the college or the university, William and Mary, in Williamsburg, Virginia. And so I went down a deep rabbit hole on William and Mary, which was, did you know, the first U.S. institution with a royal charter in 1694. It was founded in 1693, this school in Williamsburg, Virginia, by William and Mary, William III and Mary. Who was that? Mary, Queen of Scots. I don't know.
Yeah.
Queen Mary II. Anyway, it's a lot of firsts, and I think they're making a jab. There's got to be making a jab.
Having never even heard of that school before, I knew nothing about it. So you're bringing all new information to me. I had no idea there was even a school.
Andy, I got more. George Washington received his surveyor's license and served as William and Mary's first American chancellor. Thomas Jefferson, graduate from William and Mary. James Monroe, undergraduate. John Tyler, undergraduate. This is where presidents go to school. This is where old American money goes to school.
Is this still a school?
It is still a school. Yes, absolutely. It is the first to boast a full faculty. It was the first to confer metallic prizes, which were gold medals donated by Lord Boutetourt, governor of Virginia. It was the first Greek society, first Phi Beta Kappa. It was the first elective systems of study and honor code. It was the first law school in America, which was also made it the first university, the first school in the country to be a university in 1779.
It was the second oldest higher education institution. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Known as a public Ivy. Interesting.
Yeah. first to offer programs in modern languages, political economy, and modern history. That's crazy.
This conversation about repeat performance
Yeah.
sure is off to a rocking start.
This is why members show for this.
More about the history of William and Mary College.
Not many universities can say they've canceled classes because the British invaded. That's right, Andy. William and Mary can do that.
That's probably true. Not many people can talk about that.
Let's talk about repeat performance. Now that we've gotten all that out of the way.
Now, thank God we got all the College of William and Mary out of the way. This is the members voted on this. This is our December member bonus episode, and we are adding on to the Film Noir series, of which we just had one edition, Night in the City. And it's also conveniently adding to our holiday series because it is a New Year's film. So it's a double bill as far as what we're getting out of this movie with Alfred L. Werker's repeat performance. Very interesting film.
One might argue we need to put this on the holiday list twice.
Oh, I see what you did
see
there.
What I did there?
I see what you did there, yeah.
All right.
So it's an interesting film, and we mentioned up top that this is a film I hadn't heard of, and as it turns out, you hadn't either.
Spoiler
alert. And I think a lot of that is because this film really kind of disappeared for a very long time. And it was only in 2007 that they did a screening of this movie. And it was, the condition was poor, but people were intrigued by it. And that spurred on the UCLA Film and Television Archive and the Film Noir Foundation to spearhead a restoration of this film that took from 2007 to 2011. And I think Flickr Alley ended up releasing the Blu-ray and DVD of this after it had been restored. And it was for a film that many people had never even heard of before, to suddenly have this very unique entry in noir come out, I think really excited a lot of people because it is very different. It's a story of a woman who has, at the start of the film, has made a bad decision and wishes she could change it. And lo and behold, destiny essentially gives her a chance to relive the year and just see if she can outwit destiny over the course of that year.
Okay, so let's first start with the conversation about destiny, the mechanic of time of the we'll say Groundhog Day, although now we should say repeat performance day year, how that works in the film for you. Because the way it manifests, she shoots her husband, Barney. That's how the doors blow open. That's how the movie opens, is she's standing over him with a gun.
Yeah, he's laying on the floor.
Very dramatic. She goes to see her friend, who says, we should go see our other friend. And as they're walking up the stairs, the camera sort of crops him out of frame. And then she turns around and he's not there. And she is just suddenly, she doesn't know where he went. She goes in, she starts telling Friday, hey, what's going on?
Friday is the other friend, John Friday.
Is the other friend, right. She's wearing different clothes. And now we're a year earlier. How does that whole mechanic work for you?
I thought it played pretty well. I thought that they made it work in a fun way where you kind of get this, it happens in any of these stories where it takes them a while to kind of puzzle through the pieces of what actually is going on. And we certainly see that here with her trying to figure out like, wait a minute, you're commenting on this dress, as she realizes is a year old. I've worn this dress last year I was wearing this dress. And so she's starting to pay attention to all of these little details. And I thought it played. And the idea of being given this opportunity to figure things out again, because as we learned from the beginning, we're getting this sense, okay, she's upset. Something had happened between her and her husband. It sounds like, as she described it, he was trying to kill her, and so she kind of shot him in self-defense. As she's talking to her buddy, her confidant, William Williams, she says, you had a terrible year too. like, your year was awful. We don't know why. We just know he had a terrible year. She sits down for a second under a poster on the wall behind her. We see that there's a play produced by John Friday. She's the star, and it's written by somebody named Paula Costello. We don't know who that is yet, but we do find out as she's talking, like, if I could change anything and I wouldn't have gone to London, maybe Barney never would have met Paula. So we're getting all these pieces, and that really, like, once we get to that point where she's at John's and is realizing what's going on, I thought it played. I thought it played really well for her to go, oh, this is a year ago. This is about when all this stuff happened. I can now make these changes.
Yeah, right. I think it does too. I think practically the act of just disappearing William on the stairs is really effective. And it's more effective than the trope that many of these time loop movies use, which is you go to sleep one night, you wake up and it's that night again, right? This go to sleep, time loop, wake up thing. This is a much more sort of active time loop. We don't understand the mechanic. We just see something changes and it's right in front of our eyes. And I thought that was a bold swing for this movie. And it really, really worked. It really worked for me.
I think they come up with a way to handle the mechanics that does play. And I think it creates a mystery of having William disappear on the staircase, right?
Yes.
Like he kind of, as you said, he kind of stops. The camera keeps moving with her. When she turns around, he's just not there on the whole staircase going all the way down. And then it leads like all the way up to the doorway as she goes to John's door and is just looking around trying to figure out, like, what the heck is going on? Like, she senses something. I don't know. I think that there's an element to the way that all worked that I thought was it plays nicely.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think also Joan Leslie, who's playing Sheila Page here, does it really well. Like, I buy into her confusion with all of this. And then, I mean, there are moments in the course of all of this where I do feel like, okay, some of this feels like it's 1947 acting and screenwriting, the way that it's some of the little pieces are playing. But largely, I mean, I really did like her in the role. I thought she did a great job.
I do too. And I was reading some of the criticisms of Joan Leslie's performance, and most of these were contemporary to the film being released, which means they're also based on people who had an affinity to the book. And because the book is different, right? The gender swap, having Barney be the time travel victim in the book, he actually shoots his lover that he's having an affair with, and she, meaning Joan Leslie's part, is the wife, and she's an alcoholic, and she's really struggling too. Apparently, part of the reason they did the gender reversal was because Joan Leslie had such a reputation of being pure and the ingenue on screen, and they didn't want to sully that. So one of the grand criticisms of her role here is that she is the too perfect heroine, that she's written as impossibly virtuous. And I don't think I saw that in my watch of this movie. Impossibly virtuous. The, quote, absolute untarnished saintliness of Sheila Page dramatically undermined any emotional complexity the film might have had. That was from a contemporary Letterboxd review. I did not see that. Did you see the too perfect heroine problem?
No, I mean, it's interesting because in the context of the original book, I can... like, she was going to be like a alcoholic, and there was, like, her character in the book was a much darker version of what we end up having with her husband Barney, who is the alcoholic in this case, and definitely darker, and kind of like the idea of her playing that, I can see, okay, yeah, they wanted to change it so she wasn't the one who was the alcoholic, because audiences might have a hard time buying into that. As it stands, I don't have that issue. I don't see that as a problem. Like, I don't think that she's too virtuous. I think that, or what virtue she has, like, I don't see that as a part of the problem, right? Like, she's a woman who's trying to keep her marriage together, largely is the case of the story. She's in love with Barney, and she knows he's an alcoholic. He's going to fall for Paula when she goes out of town to London, and that's going to kind of like drive a wedge in their marriage that leads him to kind of attack her, and then she ends up killing him. And now she's trying to fix all of that. And so I don't know. I it's odd to have that as a complaint, as that somebody might find her virtuosity to be too much for the film. I don't see that.
I think so too. I don't see it. I think some of the criticism is levied because she is the virtuous one in a sort of pond of malevolent women in this movie. Like they're all, to some degree, either overtly or covertly malicious in how they manipulate either Barney or the family, whatever. But to me, this is a woman who is uncomplicated by that sort of darkness that we get in these other women because she's so busy trying to figure out how space-time has been manipulated around her and how she's living the year again and why she has all these memories. And I don't think her being a perfect heroine, too perfect heroine, enters into that discussion. Let her just figure out her place in the mystery. I was here for it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. She's an interesting performer, particularly at this point in time, because she had signed a contract with Warner Brothers in 1941. So at the start of this decade, and she was a big performer for the studio. She was in High Sierra. She was in Yankee Doodle Dandy, and really as a young performer in these films would often like upstage some of the performers she was with. Like people noticed her. Sergeant York is another one. She was getting put in a lot of things or being offered a lot of roles, and she was really dissatisfied that, because it's the studio system, and you're kind of like, whatever the studio wants you to be in, you had to do. She wanted to be in some more serious roles, some more mature roles, and she was always being portrayed as this ingenue, and so she and her lawyer actually took Warner Brothers to court to get out of the contract, and it was quite an ordeal, quite a big issue, and it was like one of the early times that an actress or a performer did this. Jack Warner pretty much tried to blacklist her. And so that's why she ended up in this movie, because this is Eagle Lion Films. This is kind of with all the series of Poverty Row Studios. It's not one of the majors. And so they didn't have as much money. So she did 2 movies with Eagle Lion. She did this and Northwest Stampede. And then just kind of kept working and then raised her kids and everything. But it was a struggle for her because of Jack Warner putting his might behind the studio system to kind of like keep her from working in the studios as much as possible. And so coming out of all of that into this, I think people especially at the time, walked into this movie kind of expecting to still see that ingenue character that she had always played. And I think for her, and I think for us, we're seeing that there's a lot more of an interesting and complex character that we have in this performance than just simply the young starlet getting a chance,
Yeah, for sure. And that sort of makes the fact that this movie was lost such a mystery, because Eagle Lion, I mean, I'm excited to actually hear the budget. I haven't peeked ahead, but in my reading, it seems like they put some money behind this. They made this a real showcase because they were so excited about her to get this thing out there. I just, yet again, another weird data point as to why did this movie disappear for so long. It seems like it could have had a much more robust history.
Yeah, it's just one of these issues with, and possibly just because it was with the small studio here. I mean, Eagle Lion, their library, they were part of PRC, Producers Releasing Corporation Studio. They established Eagle Lion, and then Eagle Lion eventually merged And I think it ended up becoming part of the new United Artists. So with all of the changing hands that often happens with these movies, it's just possible that it was just something that was in a vault and they just weren't, they probably saw as one of their poverty row pictures and they just weren't pushing,
Everybody has a vault these days, Andy.
Put it in the vault.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
So she is, I think, Joan Leslie, she ended up having a career. There were some smaller things in the 50s, but, she ended up doing a lot of specials in TV and a lot of things. Like her IMDb is full of like the 20th Century Fox Hour and the Chevron Hall of Stars and General Electric Theater, like full of all those kinds of things after this period of her career. But I thought she was fantastic in the movie. And I think, didn't I read she was like 21 when she did this movie? I mean, she was young.
She was really young. She was born in 1925. So, yeah. By the time it came out, she was 22.
Yeah, it's amazing. She pulled her weight in this movie.
Yeah, I think it works well. And opposite Lewis Hayward as Barney, I think that I buy them as this young actress who meets this writer who had written a play that she starred in and it became a success, and they fall for each other, and they are together now. And she has gone on to be, a famous actress in all these other performances. And he has been kind of the struggling writer, never able to get another success and always trying, but never quite getting there. And now he's an alcoholic. And it plays like that. Sounds like the type of story that you hear often in these sorts of like relationships between creatives.
Yeah. Did you buy his angst?
Oh, yeah.
Over the course of the film, you did?
Yeah. Okay. So again, like I said earlier, some of it does feel very 40s and the way it's performed. I buy it. Like I can see that sort of stuff, bothering somebody to the point that this is how how their relationship is going to play. He's going to fall back into drinking very easily. He falls for this other woman. Like I buy all of that. I think it all plays well. Is it always performed or directed as well as it could be? Are the lines as strong as they could be? Not always. And I think that's some of the struggle I have with it. But I guess I buy the concept of what they're going for.
Yes, I buy the concept. And I buy into the emotional arc, even though I honestly struggled with him a little bit, with Lewis Hayward. And maybe not Lewis Hayward's fault, but to your point, was this part written, performed, and directed, the whole cauldron of this character, the way to really honor the angst as it builds across the arc of the film. It just, if stars fall for me, it is this relationship where they start to fall, because he felt actually a little bit too sort of emotionally overwrought too early, and I didn't always understand his motivation. Like, what was it about her that drove him to, because that's his whole thing. He's blaming her for so much. And what was it about that motivated him down this path of darkness? Now, does it always fit into the theme? Yeah, because the theme of the movie is about determinism and can we outrun fate? Can we change our fate? That's the premise of the film. And the film's ideology ends up saying, no, you really can't. Things are the way they are. But he was a weaker link for me.
Yeah, and I see that. I guess for me, I didn't see that Lewis was the problem. Again, it just boils down to how some of it is written. Like, I struggle sometimes with elements of the story where, she has, I mean, and it's you can see why Groundhog Day simplified it to a day, right? Like, giving somebody an entire year to redo,
there's a lot. Yeah,
requires a lot of time to go through stuff. And there are moments where I feel like, okay, you're being a little loosey-goosey with your decisions, Sheila, as far as like, okay, let's do this. Now everything's better. And she just kind of lets things go and doesn't think about the fact that I still have to be paying attention to all of these things. Like,
yeah.
She decides to do this play again that she knows that Paula had written. And she totally trusts that everything will be okay. She trusts that John is going to keep Paula away. She doesn't realize Barney's going to draw her in. And then once he does, it's like she still is just kind of going along with everything, like it's all going to be okay. Like, and I think if there are frustrations I have, it's some of the workings of the story and how they put it together, and just the construct to kind of keep things moving as best they can, but still you've got an entire year to do it. And so it makes it a little clunky as far as the way that they have to shift things and move things. And so, like, they go to California and make changes. Like, she's making active changes to her entire life that she knows theoretically are doing things the way they should based on how they went the previous year. She knows she didn't go to London, but now mysteriously Paul has decided to come here. She goes to California, and then John brings that script to the new play. Like, everything still pushes in, and so she's not active enough in making those changes. And that plays with Barney also, who, like, she sees all of this and she's trying to fix things, but I just don't ever get a sense that she's actively working on the relationship. And as you said, like, why does Barney seem to hate her so much? Maybe that's what she needs to be doing instead of just taking them off to California.
Right. And in that regard, I mean, you get me thinking, like, maybe this should have covered the first week of the year instead of the whole year, right? Like, maybe it was just the last week leading up to the New Year's party.
Yeah,
like,
from Christmas to New Year's again.
Yeah, from Christmas to New Year's. Because there is just a lot of sort of hand-waving we have to do to end up believing that their emotional arcs are paced appropriately. And that I think is the way to frame The Falling Stars. I like that.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's an issue. It still plays very fun. I think in the general concept is a lot of fun and it works. And in the scope of, like, if you step back and you say, okay, Barney is just a hateful person because they both had this huge success. She's the star that came from it, not him. And like, there's just this bitter jealousy that he has, and he can't let that go. And I think that drives into him over and over to the point that that's why he hates her so much. And so I do buy that. It's a lot of those other plot elements are what make me struggle.
Yeah. What about the other friends? We have Friday and William Williams.
I think Friday is just a good figure to, like, bounce things off of in the course of the story, right? Like, he works well as Tom Conway plays him, and I think he just delivers that sort of role that we need here. So I enjoyed him. I thought he was fun.
He's kind of a nice plot engine, right? He worried about moving things forward. Don't worry. Friday's here. He's going to take you to another room where more things will happen. That's kind of what he does. William Williams is interesting because, first of all, he is one of the earlier sympathetic depictions of gay characters on screen. It is deeply coded, but that plays for me. He's such an interesting character, and he is also pivotal in a way that Friday is not, right? He's pivotal because a lot of the greatest acts of malice happened to him. The fact that he is not once, but twice institutionalized by Mrs. Shaw. So he's institutionalized, and he realizes, oh, I can walk out of here on New Year's Eve. He does that twice, but he also ends up being such a huge sort of enmeshed part of her life and her trying to rebuild her memory and the structure, but after reliving this year, that he ends up saving her and being the one who shoots Barney. Barney ends up dead anyway, but William Williams is the one to pull the trigger and is taken away again. He is the dramatic punching bag of the story.
Yeah, it's an interesting character, and it's interesting. They say They say that the way that he's kind of written is coded gay, and I suppose maybe that is because of how the character William and Mary was written in the book, right? Where he was transvestite, and there was a much different way that his character was portrayed there. So my hunch is that they kind of say he's coded gay because of that. But honestly, when you watch the film, I didn't think of him as coded gay. I thought he was actually in love with Sheila and wanted her, but knew that she was with Barney and was just, wanted to be in her life regardless, and just always pining for her for the thing that he would never be able to have. And so that's kind of how I saw that relationship.
That's interesting. I saw it as coded gay. I saw it as coded gay. The moment he comes out, he's kind of they call him the poet. I guess that's the thing. Like, he's the poet, and that
He is a poet.
He is a poet, right?
It's because he writes poetry.
He writes poetry.
Right. So, yeah, they don't just call him the poet.
Well, I mean, I understand that. They call him the poet. He rides in from
They call us podcasters, but are we?
He's actually a blacksmith, right? He's really a poet. He's the poet. They call him a poet because he's a poet. And that, to me, felt like just an additional bit of coded language that like, I don't know that maybe Tom Conway could be called a poet, but Lewis Hayward would never have been called a poet. Richard Basehart is playing a guy that could be called a poet. How about that?
Okay.
I felt like he was he was exuding sensibilities that felt coded gay to me, but I don't know, man. Who knows?
Which is interesting because sometimes they do that because the actor themselves is gay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case here.
No.
But again, and maybe that's why I read it like he wants her and he just can't have her, as opposed to the book, and so it's very interesting, very different. You know what I think is funny about Richard Basehart that I don't think I ever would have been able to tell you, but he's the character of Wilton Knight in Knight Rider, and then which we only ever see in the very first episode, and then he's the voice in Kit in the rest, or the narration, sorry, in the rest of the series.
Really?
Yeah.
A man who does not exist. That's him.
That's him. Yeah. It's because he's got that great voice.
Yeah, he does. He really does. You might say the voice of a poet.
Or the voice of I was going to say voice of a car, but again, he's not the car.
He's not the car. Right, yeah. Right. He's a billionaire industrialist playboy.
Exactly. Just like Batman.
All right. Anyhow, I felt like this sort of cadre of performers was really fun.
What did you think of Mrs. Shaw, Eloise Shaw, the one who she's essentially the older rich woman who knowingly takes on these younger people like William Williams just so they will essentially be her. She's their sugar mama. And that's kind of her whole thing. As long as they're good to her, Mom will be good to you. That whole
Mom will
thing.
Be good to you.
Yeah. Did you recognize her?
It was one of those things. She was very familiar to me, and I admit I could not place the face until I looked her up. And oh my God, man. Oh my God, have I spent time with this woman. So much time.
As soon as I saw her, I'm like, Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
She's Mrs. Howell. Like, I pinned it immediately. She's just so familiar to me. Yeah, that's so funny.
That was the tip of my tongue back. I was very frustrated by the fact that I could not figure out who she was. So I regret that. I'm grateful that you were able to have that experience.
It was very satisfying. Very satisfying.
Yeah, she's great. She's funny. She's
fun. And Virginia Field plays Paula. She's another actress that is, very familiar in a lot of projects in this period of time, and good British actress, like a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. She was in, and what else was she in this? Oh, Eternally Yours. That's a good one from 1939.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah. But she plays kind of, I don't know. It's interesting. I was reading a review about this, and because this is called a film noir. And there are a lot of people who argue about whether this actually is a film noir. Glenn Erickson, in his review of the DVD, he said, repeat performance also reminds us that noir is a style, not a genre. The definition of noir has eased to include, sometimes grudgingly, thrillers with overt supernatural content, like Night Has a Thousand Eyes or Alias, Nick Beale. This film plays out in a realistic cinematic space, even with its Twilight Zone-like aura of mystery. So I don't know. I'm curious where you land as far as how this fits into noir. Like, would we call Paula a femme fatale? It's very shadowy. It's about crime. There's kind of an inevitability to the story that we have here as we build to the end and realize destiny isn't going to let any of these people out. Like, where does that land for you?
That's really interesting. I like that we're easing noir into the term of style, not genre. That I think that is primarily its strength as a visual style. But there's enough fatalism and determinism conversation that I think it definitely fits. It's not a happy, it doesn't give us any sort of joy. This is not a typical joyful holiday film. The femme fatale, so Sheila is emphatically not a femme fatale, right? She gets to be our virtuous protagonist.
I think she would have been had they not reversed the genders and she had been the alcoholic.
Right. So Paula gets to be, you're right, the destructive sort of female presence. She's the one who pursues Barney. She's the one who enables his worst impulses. She's the homewrecker. But she's kind of secondary. She's like a displaced femme fatale because her overt sexuality, I guess, disrupts their domestic stability. But she's not a principal. She's not a sort of the principal character that we would normally associate with the role. I think Barney is the doomed male.
Or is he the homme fatale?
Homme fatale. Did you just make that up?
I did. Yeah. I tried to come up with something French sounding.
That was good. Homme fatale. That was really good. Clip that. Somebody clip that, social media. We just made a thing. Homme fatale. Nice. Nice French. So all the other things, right? All the other tropes, crime and violence and social commentary and, our as you mentioned, the Poverty Row sort of pedigree, it all fits. It all fits. You do have to embrace the sci-fi fantasy kind of time loopiness. But I was never taken out of the noir experience in this film because of the hand-wavy time loopiness.
Well, here's a question regarding destiny, I suppose, and the time loopiness and how it fits into noir. In the original, the original ending of her situation, Barney had been coming at her. She had found a gun and shot him. And that's kind of where we start the film. And now she's trying to figure out how am I going to go get away with this? And I loved the line that they say, should I go to call the police? And he's like, no, they have such one-track minds, they'll only arrest you. It's just like, it was very funny. And then that leads to this whole thing. And as we build to the end, we get, again, a repeat of the situation where Barney comes at her. And this is the change. William Williams, because she's kind of given him enough information to buy into everything, that she's reliving everything, like all of the stuff that he warned her against Mrs. Shaw, yet he doesn't listen, and he ends up in this insane asylum. And so he gets out. He is now the one who kills Barney instead of her. Is that a fair way for destiny, for one, to let her off the hook, and for a film noir to let her off the hook?
Yeah, it's a good question, because like in that regard, this is more hopeful than any other film noir would permit if we were being pure classicists.
Yeah.
Because she gets to live. She is, as you say, off the hook. She's freed from the abusive husband.
She's not going to prison.
She's not going to prison. That's all the elements of like standard wish fulfillment that cuts against the irony of like the bitterness of traditional film noir. Even though Williams is arrested, Barney is dead, everybody around her ends in what I would argue is a classic film noir fashion. It's grim for everybody but her, and in that regard, maybe that's what is grim for her. The fact that the world around her tends to collapse even though she's off the hook, she has to live with it.
Yeah, she's living with the fact that destiny said no. William Williams will still be in the asylum. Your husband will still be dead because of all of this.
And the price you have to live with, Sheila, is that you have to know that you did everything you could and you couldn't escape it.
So, okay, so then this is an interesting question. So why does destiny let her try it again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is the entire point for destiny to say, see? And now she has to live with the fact that she lived that entire year twice and wasn't able to change anything, which I don't know, maybe make you feel okay in the end that, you know what, it's out of my hands.
It's Chinatown, Jake. It's Chinatown. Right? Like I do think there's something to that, right? That she is like that it doesn't matter what you try. Even if we let you take a stab at it, you will never escape inevitability.
Yeah.
That's in the context of this movie, I think it's exactly as hopeful as it needs to be, which is not very. She learns a very valuable lesson. Even though she doesn't go to jail, she's still going to be imprisoned by the experience and by the fact that she's lost her friend and her husband, and she had to essentially do that twice over the course of 2 years, right? She lived 2 years in one, and that's grim.
Yeah, right.
I am more sad about this than I was when we started talking.
Yeah, like, can you imagine the state it puts her in at the end of all this?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's dark. So maybe that does lend to the very noirish nature of it, that, you know what, there's no way out. I mean, it could have just been called No Way Out, because there really is no way out of this.
There's no way out.
Yeah. You're trapped in this vicious cycle that destiny has created for you. And as you said right at the top, destiny's a stubborn old girl.
For sure. I think it gets muddy when it's the number of people that I've read talking about this movie saying it's got a Twilight Zone vibe.
Yeah.
It is, well, I'll just say it's too many. I think that's too easy a way to catalog this movie as something other than direct noir. It does have the opening sort of narration and the whole philosophical kind of premise, the what if premise. I mean, you can kind of read this as a Rod Serling homage. But the more we talk about it, the more I realize I think this film is trying to say something more.
There's definitely something interesting with the nature of its messaging, as far as you can't get out. Like, this is, I think it's really just like, when you make choices, you have to live with them. Like, you're going to have to live with them. And that's life. Like, life can be unfair. And so you're just going to have to deal with the consequences and find your way through that, which, again, she has to do twice now. And so, yeah, it makes me wonder where she'll go from here. You know, her husband's dead. William is back in the asylum, and she's still in the play with Paula's play, produced by Friday. And so, yeah, it makes you wonder if she wants to continue that, or if she's going to find a new direction, go out to Hollywood again.
It does make me think, and I don't know that we've ever talked about this. Like, when you asked, how does this fit as a noir? And I guess it implies are you do you have a generous view of what is inclusive of noir, or more of a strict sort of classical view, historical view? I mean, when this movie came out, noir wasn't a thing. Like, we had no words to define what noir was. Right. And I think I come down sort of more productively that this is a film with a lot of stylistic hints at noir, but it resists kind of super easy categorization. And I like that it's got some instability to it, right? It is noirish, it's melodrama, it's fantasy, it's domestic thriller. And I know that there are people out there who are going to say, well, it's not strictly noir. What are you? Are you generous? Are you strict? Are you classical?
You know, as I have been working on my CinemaScope podcast where I explore different genres and subgenres and film movements. I have found that I've become a little more loose with terms and descriptions and everything, because I think everything is so malleable and there are so many different films that we have. And I think you can see why certain things they want to cut off and say, well, film noir really only is from 1941 to 1957. And anything outside of that is neo-noir or something else. And all of these rules, like it's got to be black and white and the femme fatale and all these different things. And I think that, especially in the scope of something that was kind of categorized after the fact, I think that it really is just like more of the tone. And so I find myself much more generous with the descriptor. And, yes, a style, but a genre is a style. So I think it's fine calling it a genre, but I don't think it has to be a genre, like a rigid genre with it has to have all of these rules in order to fit. So for me, it feels very much like a film noir. The tone, the bleakness, like the
philosophical pessimism, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
yeah.
I think for me, I'm fine calling it a noir.
Okay. Well, we're in violent agreement. Lucky.
What else? I feel like, we talked about the book, which I think is crazy. But again, I really want to read that now, especially just to get a sense of the whole shift of genders and everything.
Yeah. William O'Farrell, 1942. If anybody's looking for the book, I haven't checked to see if it's in Libby.
Have we talked about L. William O'Connell, the cinematographer, before?
I don't believe we have.
Definitely a very busy cinematographer who's ended with 3 films, Jiggs and Maggie. You had a lot of Jiggs and Maggie films. I've never heard of the Jiggs and Maggie films that came out right around this time.
Interesting.
Yeah, not a cinematographer I'm very familiar with. From the silent era all the way. Oh, he did stuff with Howard Hawks, so it's maybe entirely likely that I've seen something that he did then. Well, the look, I think, works well for noir. And I think playing, it's not as like deep shadows and stark contrast and everything, but it definitely has like a lot of night and kind of, everything kind of still feels of that world.
He does play close too. He's pretty intimate. And I think like there are some striking shots of Joan Leslie just exuding mood, sometimes crying. And I think he captures that sort of intimacy very, very well and very naturally. I love the opening shot, right? As we move in toward the apartment, toward the balcony, toward the doors opening. I think it's really super dramatic. I think he's got a really nice sense of classic noir techniques, right? Chiaroscuro effects. He's really playing with texture and tone, and a lot of the sort of backstage kind of melodrama that this movie lives in gives him a lot of room to play in Lights and Darks. So I think it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Alfred Werker, though,
our director.
Yeah. What do we know? Have we seen anything of him?
I have seen some stuff. Things like he worked on for Disney. He worked on like The Reluctant Dragon. So like things like that he had worked on, but not much. I don't feel like I've seen much of his work.
Yeah, I have not either. I'm looking at some of, some of the stuff that he's done. He was apparently known as something of a film doctor, stepping in to finish works that were struggling, both as director, editor. He was kind of all over the place. But, I don't even, maybe I saw The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the 39. We didn't talk about it, but it does remind me we should do more. We did Baskerville.
The Hound of the Baskervilles, yeah.
We should do more Holmes. I miss Holmes. But yeah, no, I haven't seen anything else that he's done of note, of memory.
Yeah, he did some Laurel and Hardy stuff, so it's possible I've seen some of those
you're right
as well. So,
yep.
One last note I have, George Antheil, I'm not sure how you say his last name, the composer, which I loved the music for this. He, along with Hedy Lamarr, developed the radio guidance system for Allied torpedoes that used a code stored on punched paper tape to synchronize frequency changes. It was which they called frequency hopping between the transmitter and the receiver. They were inducted in the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2014. I'd always heard about Hedy Lamarr doing that, but I didn't realize that he was working on it with her. And I think that is very interesting.
That is really interesting. Apparently they called him the bad boy of music in the 1920s.
He looks like it.
I was wondering if you'd like to be the bad boy of podcasting.
I thought I already was.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating film. I think that's it. So we'll be right back. But first, our credits.
The Next Reel is a production of True Story FM. Engineering by Andy Nelson. Music by Quentin Koblenz, Oriel Novella, and Eli Catlin. Andy usually finds all the stats for the awards and numbers at d-numbers.com, boxofficemojo.com, imdb.com, and wikipedia.org. Find the show at truestory.fm, and if your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, please consider doing that for our show. How many times do I get to watch remakes?
One time.
Just
and it's
one times.
And interestingly, it is a remake of this and not of the book. Again, it is the woman who wishes for another chance and gets one life to live over again. It's the TV movie Turn Back the Clock from 1989, starring Connie Selica. A name I feel like I haven't heard since probably the 80s TV movie generation.
Yeah.
Very much of that era. I don't know. I'm curious. Joan Leslie does appear in it, in a cameo. So I thought that's nice.
That is nice. And we're going to skip awards because apparently this movie had already disappeared by award season.
Yeah.
They lost the print. Nobody saw it.
And these, Poverty Row films, I don't think people are making films there with the hopes of awards or Photoplay magazine even.
All right. So how to do at the box office.
Well, it's hard to say exactly how much Werker had to make this movie. In Tom Weaver's It Came From Horrorwood book, someone says the budget was $600,000. But according to Brian Foy, Eagle Eye's production chief, this film set them back $1.3 million. Maybe that's prints and advertising. I don't know. It's possible either are right, but for our purposes, I'm going with the higher number, which is $18.5 million in today's dollars. The movie opened May 22nd, 1947, and unfortunately, I have no idea how it did. So we're just going to have to leave it there. My hunch is it did okay, but not well enough for them to manage the prints much better,
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed my time. Is it a 5-star and a heart? I'll spoil it. No, not quite. But did I have a great time with the movie? Absolutely. I think it does exactly what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Even with the sci-fi twist.
Is it sci-fi? I'd say fantasy.
Fantasy. Even with the fantasy twist that might dial it out of the noir range for some. I think it works very, very well.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. So, all right. Well, that is it for today's conversation. Next month, we'll have just started our True Lies series. So we are adding on to that. The members voted for us to discuss Steven Soderbergh's 2009 film, The Informant, starring Matt Damon. Have you seen that one before?
Yeah.
I don't really remember it at all, so I'm curious to check it out again. I remember I liked the score a lot, and that's all I remember about it. But it's Soderbergh, so.
It's Soderbergh. Well, Soderbergh's Was he retired when he made this movie? Was he not retired when he made
Was
this
he about
movie?
to
It's a
retire?
Real roller coaster. Real roller coaster.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, hey, what do you say we do our ratings?
Letterboxd.com/the next reel. That's where you can find all of our reviews and ratings for the movies that we've talked about on this show. And yeah, what are you going to do? Andy, how many hearts? Where are they coming from? That's the rule. You're not going to follow it. Go.
I had a really good time with this one. I thought it was an interesting spin on a story like this. It felt very, it was kind of a nice surprise. I do struggle again with some of kind of the way the story is constructed, some of the elements that drag on over the course of the year. But largely, I still had a lot of fun with this. I think this is a fair 3.5 and a heart for me.
3.5 and a heart. As you know, no half stars right here. So the question is 3 stars and a heart or 4 stars and a heart. I think just because of the kind of day it is, I'm trying to combat some rain-soaked environmental woe and recording and the point where it's still dark. I think I'm going to choose glass half full, Andy. It's 4 stars and a heart.
Wow, look at that.
Repeat performance.
Interesting.
I really enjoyed my time.
Yeah. Oh, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And it did look great. I mean, the restoration they did was beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I mean, I don't know where you watched it, but I watched the restored version that's on Canopy.
Big screen, baby. Big screen.
Nice.
Huge.
There you go.
In the headset.
Well, that averages out to 3 3/4, which will round up to 4 stars, which you can find on our account at Letterboxd at The Next Reel. You can find me there at Soda Creek Film, and you can find Pete there at Pete Wright. So what did you think about Repeat Performance? We would love to hear your thoughts. Hop into the Show Talk channel over in our Discord community where we will be talking about the movie this week.
When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Letterboxd giveth Andrew.
As Letterboxd always doeth.
Where'd you go? High, low, popular, cool?
I ended up at 1.5 stars.
1.5 stars. That's near the bottom of the barrel.
Toward the bottom. Yeah, I know.
Okay. What'd you get?
I went 1.5 by T.B. Kane. Listen, girls, don't aspire for better things because you drag down your friends too, is the moral of this movie, I think. It's not that it isn't well acted. It's just the husband is such a giant man baby that throws a fit anytime he doesn't get his way. By halfway, I was wanting him to die again so Sheila could be free and much happier with someone else. He doesn't have any redeeming features. She's stronger than me because if I ever caught someone cheating like that in front of all my friends and coworkers, divorce would be filed the second the courts open the next day. It's just he has nothing to redeem himself or show why Sheila likes him. You'd think he'd have something, but nope. It's also so weird that every woman in this film is evil and conspiring against our lead, besides her maid, like they all go against her wishes at one point and intentionally seem to sabotage her life. It's just a boring way of doing characters.
Wow. Okay. All right. I get 1.5 out of that. I've got 3 from Gentry Austin. In your right hand, a smoking revolver. A very bitchy cast of characters in this time travel New Year's noir Poverty Row studio Eagle Lion, which opens at the end of a terrible year, the worst year ever, with Auld Lang Syne playing like a funeral dirge. You can tell the B-movie studio had lofty aspirations for the film because the opening credits are in cursive. It's a solid entry in the pantheon of great noir films that open with a woman, in this case Joan Leslie, holding a recently fired gun. Leslie is good as the befuddled actress trying to course correct, but finding fate more stubborn than she expected. But the real draw is the supporting players, Lewis Hayward as a bad, bitter husband, Tom Conway as the platonic friend, a warm refuge, and Richard Basehart as the tragic gay poet who is institutionalized when he turns down the advances of a moneyed older woman. Basehart understandably got a lot of praise for his sensitive, unexaggerated portrayal of a closeted man in crisis, his character arc more devastating than anything Sheila Page goes through, sacrificing his freedom for the cis white woman's life. 3 stars.
Yeah, wow. I just think he loved her.
I think you might be an island.
I think he loved her.
You might be on an island.
I was watching him and I'm like, this man is in love with her and just can't do anything about it because she's with a buffoon.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a tweak maybe to some of your read the room sensors.
Watch it again and see how it plays. Like I will too.
Okay.
Next time I watch it, I'm going to be checking. Keep my eye on that.
Okay. All right. Good. Thanks, Letterboxd.
All right.
Brian
is clearly in your camp as far as
1,000% coded gay.
Oh, let's see. I appreciate making the husband an egotistical, menacing shrew, one of those 1940s era hittable faces and broad performance styles. Do you think the acting style serves this movie well?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it dates the film, right? For, I guess, modern viewers, it can feel like maybe an obstacle to engagement. But, I think the period was much more accustomed to externalized raw performances, and I think Hayward's sneering was great, not hammy, but that was what we were to expect from these performances. And this is a movie that paints in broad contrast, as so many of these movies did, and sometimes it's just like, here's a giant paintbrush painting in the color villainy, and it just has to be that stylized because that's the movie we're in. It is exactly the movie that they are all in the movie that they need to be in.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think Rod Serling or other Twilight Zone writers saw this and were fans of it or the book? I would imagine.
Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah. How bold is it for someone with the last name Williams to name their son William? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if your child's daughter's last name is Wood and naming them Holly. It's any of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
Very Andrew Andrews. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Would you call the melodrama campy? I guess this just goes into kind of what you were just saying about the acting style. And, campy isn't something people generally set out to do. It's just something viewed by later generations as to how it was portrayed. And I mean, I could see some of this falling into what you would say is a campy style, but
interestingly, though, do you think that undercuts the noir? Does it go further toward undercutting noir?
That's what I was about to say. Is like I don't know if I'd read it specifically as a camp film because of the noirish nature of it. I do think that the noir is it the camp undercutting the noir, or does the noir end up kind of like toning down the camp? Because I mean, I've seen plenty of noirs that are also have this same sort of over the top acting style. And I feel like maybe I just read that more as just part of the noir elements of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Great movie.
Thanks.
A lot of fun. I'm glad the members picked it. And
me too.
Yeah, we will be back next month to talk about The Informant. So, and then before that, we'll be back to talk about Once.
Yeah.
As we kick off this other thing. So this next series. So.
Right.
So many movies to talk about, Pete.
I know. See you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.